Hi, good evening, everyone. We are on the 24th of August 2021. This was a Tuesday. This is the Mentorship InstaView, and I think it's a good idea to create these market wraps in a video format in comparison to the earlier small paragraph written ones. I've had some good feedbacks from every one of you today morning, and this inspires me to continue with these recordings. So I have included few elements to my chart. On my left hand side is the weekly time frame, on my right hand side is the daily time frame. We'll keep a look at both these time frames simultaneously. I have moving averages, which is allowing me to have a sense of the short-term trend on the daily chart and the intermediate trend on the weekly charts. These are the 1334 exponential moving average. I have a set of RSIs. ATR with Bollinger Band helps me to get an understanding of the volatility and relative strength. Now, the Nifty gained 126 points in today's trade to close at 16,620. Yesterday, I was talking about the fact that it's not going to be a surprise if the index takes out that 16,500, 16,550 mark and tries to push itself further up to a new life high. Keeping in mind, they would like to celebrate the derivatives expiry coming up day after tomorrow. Possible. On the other hand, there was a possibility of a breakdown as well. With today's move, the market seems to be, the index seems to be showing its clear inclination, intention that it's not going to give up that easy. It probably would try its best to hit a new life high before it decides the derivatives expiry day after tomorrow. Let's see what's in store for us, but the trend indicators have sloped up. Of course, the short-term momentum indicators will go overboard. That's all right. That's healthy. Keeping in mind the weekly chart is in a strong uptrend, but is at channel resistances. The move may not be like a firework or a sharp move up. Might be like a drag. It might offer intimate shots to get build up, maybe, but the trend is still up. The bias should stay on the upside. We should not doubt the underlying trend and the resilience of the underlying trend of the market. Now, going forward, short-term supports will now act as close to this level, which is the breakout level, 16,550. This is from where the index broke out today and held fairly okay. So this should act as our immediate short-term support for tomorrow. Of course, a much broader, better zone that we have seen of late is this one, wherein close to that 16,300, 350 to 400, 450 range, the index had kind of tested multiple times. And this more or less corroborates with previous highs also. This is a good sign. This, where previous highs proves itself at current lows, is a very good sign which proves the trend is up and strong. So going forward tomorrow, let's keep a bullish bias and expect this momentum to continue. Short-term dip is welcome, but if it finds support close to that 16,550 mark, very good. We wouldn't like to see the index dropping below 16,500. That will mean that we are heading towards a consolidation. Now, on my right hand side over here, you can see how the NSE indices played out today. Metal bounced back the maximum. It also fell really sharp. The daily chart of Nifty Metal this is 75 minutes, I'm sorry. This is a daily chart of Nifty Metal, which clearly shows the way the index recently sold off. Double topish kind of a behavior up there. And this was the breakdown close to that 55-60 kind of level. So a retest of that is very likely. We have a big wide gap down also. So retest of that gap is possible. A very strong sector. We can see that on the left hand side chart. This is a weekly one. Now, what I would like to bring your focus to over here is this was a breakout failure for Nifty Metal. This week, when the index gained close to 8%, after that there was no follow through. On the other hand, it has come down. So the possibility of the index to come further down towards 48, 4900, 4950 kind of levels is very high, close to these lows. June 21 lows. So metals is going to stay volatile. We can clearly see how the average true range is hitting the 2 standard deviation, which clearly suggests a lot of price movements, high ranged days. In this kind of an environment, getting stopped out is very easy. So short-term traders should not either metals, or if you either metals, keep it intraday in nature. The other sectors which did well today, in fact, most of the sectors did much better than the Nifty. Small caps also gave us a nice bounce back. Real estate is going to be a very important sector. I feel so, because in real estate, I've been keeping a close eye on this. This is a possibility that erstwhile highs can prove itself as current lows, and if this happens, we should get a nice bounce back towards that 420 level on Nifty Realty. DLF, Godrej Properties, Shobha, Oberoi Real Estate, others, you should keep a close look at this pack. PSU Bank, not so good, disappointing. State Bank is the only one that has some hope. Bank Nifty, not as strong as the Nifty per se. It is stuck in a range. We can see this from a weekly chart. So I don't have too much expectation from the space, particularly keeping in mind how it miserably failed sustaining above that 36,000 mark. But nevertheless, it was the private banks, especially HDFC Bank, which led to that bounce back today. It was a nice move. It was close to 1.5% for the Bank Nifty, but stuck in a range. You can see this very clearly. Buy and support, sell at resistance kind of a mode that the private banks and the Bank Nifty is right now. So which means that if you are a short-term trader, look to buy supports, don't chase breakouts. There was finance and mid-cap which also did well. Pharma, not so good. The weekly charts have hit supports. Again, a possibility from pharma where erstwhile highs can act as current lows, but for that it needs to correct a little bit. From the daily chart, it has gone into a short-term downtrend and not so good. I think I've spoken about this in my weekly sessions also, wherein very clearly the pharma has moved into a downtrend. Energy can be an interesting one. The possibility is there for the Nifty Energy to show some strength. That is purely, particularly because of one stock. I'm going to talk about that in some time. The other two sectors which performed really well last week, in fact, Nifty has been performing really well for many weeks now, but FMCG and IT, both these sectors are in a strong uptrend, are the ones which slowed down a little bit in today's trade. Okay, healthy for the underlying trend. No problem. We should continue to look to buy these stocks from these two sectors in any price dip. Amongst the top stocks, now before I go to the top stocks, let me quickly wrap up the view on Nifty. Bullish. We would like to continue to stay bullish. We can expect a new life high by the end of this week. From the intraday charts, we can clearly see that 16,550 was the breakout level and it has broken and sustained, and we should not question the underlying trend. Keep a bullish bias. As long as 16,550 holds, the possibility of a new high is very, very high. If it breaks below 16,500, then we are back to that zone of consolidation. Bank Nifty may not play a very big role, but we have to look for other sectors and other stocks. Now, amongst the top stocks, it was evenly divided, as we can see very clearly, half of the stocks up and half of them down. But I wouldn't spend too much time, but only in one stock, that is Reliance Industries. Now, Reliance Industries is amongst those rare large cap stocks where there has been a range contraction, a nascent short-term uptrend with a short-term pullback, and now it is bouncing back. The only problem with Reliance Industries, it lacks relative strength, and if you take a look on my left hand side chart, which is the weekly, you can very clearly see that it's been stuck. Sell on resistance, buy at supports has worked really well. The lengths of the corrections are shortening, very encouraging sign, and so I feel that a move above 2200 is highly possible. In fact, if the stock decides to move, 2200 will be very, very small number. It can surprise us significantly on the upside. Probably it's packing up for the next expiry. So we'll keep this stock in our radar throughout this week, and high chance if it doesn't disappoint us again and slips below 2120. If that doesn't happen, I think most of next expiry, this stock has a possibility to rally further up. That much for today's InstaView on the markets. I hope you find this useful. Let me know about my approach, if I can improve it any further. Till then, for tomorrow, trade well.